Restored feels different. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Yin podcast. I'm your host, Kimberley Roberts of SolefulYin Yoga, and I'm really happy you're here today. So today I want to talk about why restored feels different. Because there's a big difference between coping and being restored. And sometimes we confuse the two. We often think we're restored because, I took a break. I slept in an extra 30 minutes today. Because I distracted myself really well. But sometimes you're not restored. Sometimes you're just less activated. Sometimes you're just a little less exhausted than you were before. Sometimes you're coping just a little bit better. And coping better is not the same as being regulated. Restored, it feels different. So let's talk about that. The illusion of fine. Remember that? Just fine. For so many women over 40, especially high-functioning women, fine or just fine becomes the baseline. It becomes the norm. We're productive. We're showing up. We're meeting deadlines. We're holding space for everybody else. So guess what? We assume, I'm okay, I'm fine. But internally, that jaw is tight. That breath is shallow. The thoughts, they're racing to solve imaginary emergencies. You know, that imaginary bear that's always standing in front of you? You're not collapsing here. You're bracing. And bracing, it can look very competent from the outside. But that's not restoration. So let's talk about, what does restoration actually feel like? Because restored feels different. Your breath, it deepens without you even forcing it. Those shoulders of yours, they drop naturally. Your jaw, it softens without you reminding it to do so. And your mind, it stops scanning for threats. Not because your positive thought, your way there, toxic positivity, woo-hoo-hoo, but because your physiology shifted. This drop isn't mindset. It's physiology. Let that land for a minute here. When your nervous system moves out of chronic engagement, the body reorganizes itself. Clarity returns. Energy stabilizes. You stop reacting to everything like it's urgent AF. This is what modern yin is all about, where stillness does the real work. Not dramatic, not sweaty, not loud, but powerfully bold in a quiet way. Now, I want to share a little personal story here, just to give a little bit more context. There was a season where I thought I was doing better. I was functioning, working, showing up, wasn't in crisis. So I told myself I was fine, but my jaw was still a little tight every once in a while. My shoulders, sometimes still a little too close to those ears. My thoughts, they were constantly scanning ahead of time. And even in quiet moments, I wasn't resting fully. I was still in preparing mode, preparing for the next task, the next problem that I thought would show up, the next thing that needed my attention. And then there was this moment. And I don't exactly recall. Maybe it was after I had been sick. Maybe it was during the pause from recording my podcast. Maybe it was even when I was lying on the floor after a yin practice. But I remember noticing my breath drop without me even trying. My body, it felt heavy in such a good way. Like not fatigued, settled. My thoughts, they weren't solving anything. They weren't rehearsing. They weren't anticipating. There was just this space. And I realized, whoa, this is what restored feels like. I hadn't been restored fully like this before. I had just been coping more efficiently. I had just been optimizing my burnout. Yeah, I nailed the art of optimizing burnout because I was coping more efficiently. But here's the thing. That kind of restored, that kind of coping more efficiently actually felt really different. And here's the insight around that. When we've been engaged for too long, we just normalize bracing. That's what becomes our baseline, our norm. And you know what? High functioning women, especially women over 40, are very good at bracing beautifully. They've nailed it. But restoration is not just the absence of crisis. Because here's the thing, life is going to life you. Restoration is the presence of regulation. It's when your system stops scanning, when your breath deepens without command, when your jaw softens without you reminding it to do so. And this drop, it's not mindset. It's physiology. That's why yin, modern yin especially, matters. Because it's stillness that's not indulgent. It's corrective. It teaches the body that it's safe to stop bracing. And here's the really super cool part that a lot of women ask. Well, if I know all this, then why do I avoid being still? And I'll tell you, the real reason, the simple reason why women avoid true restoration, it's because when the body finally slows down, what's underneath becomes visible. You know all the stuff that you sweep under the carpet and you're like, oh, it's not there anymore. But then one day you lift the carpet and then all of a sudden everything is exposed. So when we do the same with our body, the grief shows up that's been stored underneath the carpet, the fatigue, the resentment, the truth. So instead of restoring, we want to distract because we're like, nah, don't want to deal. So we scroll, we stay busy, we overschedule, we tell ourselves we're just fine. And here's the thing. You can say that all you want, but your nervous system knows better. Your nervous system knows the difference. You can feed your mind whatever you want, but your nervous system doesn't lie. So if your system has been engaged for too long, it doesn't need any more motivation. It already knows how to do that. It needs safety. And safety, it's not created through intensity. It's created through consistent, gentle, regulated practice and stillness. This is why the work inside the SolefulYin Yoga app and even some of my deeper mindset programs and 7 and 14-day Yin Yoga series are all about less pushing, more softening, more stillness. It's about recalibrating. It's about doing less, but done well. So if you've been listening and realizing, I actually have been coping. I've been managing. I've been just fine. Notice your breath right now. Is it low or is it high in your chest? Notice your jaw, your shoulders. And again, this isn't an exercise in judging yourself. It's about awareness. And this is one thing that I say all the time. You cannot change what you are not aware of. Because you cannot restore what you refuse to notice. In the SolefulYin Yoga app, the practices that I have designed and curated are for this exact shift. Nervous system regulation, awareness, not intensity, not sweat, not performance, not track, not check off a box, but consistent, grounded recalibration. Because restoration is built. It's built quietly. And restored, it feels different. It feels steady. It feels spacious. It feels unhurried. It feels like you don't have to hold everything up anymore. You've been there, you've done that. You have the t-shirt to prove it. Restored that feels different. This is modern yin, where stillness does the real work. So thank you so much for pressing play on today's episode. I hope this gave you some insight, some clarity, some awareness, and I'd love to see you inside the SolefulYin Yoga app. Stay tuned for the next episode.